Welcome back to Review Diesel. My name is Vinny, I'm your host. And today we're going to talk about the LBZ Duramax. One of my very good friends in Idaho had an LBZ Duramax. I got to kind of play with that thing from stock to modified-ish to fully built engine to 7 or 8 fully built transmissions, full-blown drag truck. It was just fun watching the evolution of that truck over the years. And the first problem we had with that truck is we did an edge evolution. I believe it had a FASS fuel system at the time, cold air intake, maybe some modified intercooler pipes at that point, and a remote start system. And I had a 5.9 Cummins, he had a 6.6 Duramax LBZ, and we were at the office one night. It was snowing, we were working late, and I ran out and fired my truck up because I'm a poor and my truck was manual. So I went out, fired my truck up, set the e-brake, he remote starts his, we go back in the office, we're sipping off the last little bit of coffee of the day, and we start hearing a knock, 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 knock. And he looks at me, he's like, "Is that your truck?" And I was like, "I don't know." So pop my head out the door. His truck's just cheebing out of the exhaust. And inevitably what happened is he had an injector that hung open and cut a piston in half. So common rails are very unforgiving. When something goes wrong with the injectors, bad things happen. Wash down cylinder walls, break piston rings, fill the oil up with diesel fuel, dilute the oil, wipes out all the main bearings, rod bearings. It's just not a good deal. So the number one thing that I would recommend you do to your Duramax, your LBZ Duramax specifically, is get a FASS fuel system on it right away. Conditioning the fuel properly, atomizing the fuel properly, getting dirt, air, and water out of the fuel 100%. FASS has got some really great videos on that where Brad's crazy. I love him to death. He'll take a brand new truck and literally fill it up like, it'll be like quarter tank full of diesel, and he'll just fill it up with water. And then he'll fire it up, and they got the water, you know, the fuel going through clear lines and into a big container. And then you can see when it becomes all water, it just shuts off. Like the FASS is returning so fast, it's trying to send all that back to the tank so fast, it literally just starves the truck for fuel and shuts it off. So the FASS fuel system is very efficient at what it does. Get one on your truck right away. If that's the only thing you ever do, then that's the only thing you ever do. Enjoy your LBZ for the rest of your life, and or however long you keep it. If you want to go further than that, they have really not a lot of issues. So it's a pretty good, solid platform as far as diesel trucks go, other than a mediocre fuel system. If you want to go beyond the FASS, I recommend the SureFlo fuel sending unit from Fleece Performance Engineering. They've done a great job building these things. I use them on my 6-liter Power Strokes because I use FASSes on my 6 liters. And the factory fuel sending unit will starve out when you put a FASS on it. It's basically pulling its fuel supply from this bucket right here. And obviously when you have a full tank of fuel, you've got fuel falling in here from above. When you get below a quarter of a tank, now you've only got fuel sucking in through these ports in the bottom of the sending unit. Factory sending unit has 1. Fleece has added a secondary so it can fill twice as fast, and they've put the return down into this bucket. So your FASS is constantly running, and it's sending as much fuel as it can to the engine, but whatever the engine doesn't drink, it sends back into the return. So doing this right here solves a quarter tank issue on Ford, Chevy, and Dodge across the board. It's not a huge issue on the Duramaxes, but it can happen. So like guys running like a 165 gallon per hour FASS on a Duramax, probably never gonna have quarter tank issues. If you're worried about it, there's your solution. Guys that are running like a 200, 220, bigger pumps, you gotta do the SureFlo sending unit. In the past, we put sumps in people's trucks, drilled holes in their tanks. It was always this big fight. Like the customer's like, "Well, what if I hit a stump?" If you hit a stump, you're gonna rip a giant hole in your fuel tank. Don't hit stumps. What if I'm off-roading? If you're off-roading and you can rip the sump off the bottom of your tank, you're gonna rip the tank out of the truck. Sumps have their place, they work for many years. Fleece has eliminated that as being a need. Put a SureFlo sending unit in your truck, put a FASS in your truck, problem solved, truck's gonna run great, you're not gonna have quarter tank issues, everybody goes home happy. If you do wanna go beyond just putting a FASS on your truck, plug and play programmers are out there. A lot of guys don't like them. They don't like the canned tunes. They want more than what the canned tune has to offer. They read that the canned tunes don't run good. They don't get good fuel economy. There's so much bad information in this industry. If you want a simple tuner that you don't have to be a software engineer to load and unload tunes off of it, buy yourself an Edge Evolution program. They work fantastic from 2001 all the way up to the LNLs and then the L5Ps. They've come out with the, I'm having a brain fart. They got a brand new tuner for the L5Ps. The Evolution doesn't work on them, but for your LBZ, the Edge Evolution does great. Your weekend warrior guys hauling a camper, Edge Evolution. Hauling horses to the rodeo on the weekends, Edge Evolution is going to do everything you could ever want it to do. It's going to offer you more than you're ever going to use. So it's a great option for people that just don't want to reinvent the wheel and just have a plug and play programmer. It's got all the gauges built into it, so you don't have to invest in pillar gauges and all that crap. They have an optional EGT probe that you can purchase with the Edge Evolution. Get it. We have them here at reviewdiesel.com. We are your one-stop shop. Anything you need, we can get you. Edge Evolution for your programmer needs. If you're going to go crazy, if you've read into and bought into and drank the Kool-Aid of EFI Live, we can get you EFI Live right here. Corey Willis at PPI is a good friend. We speak often on social media. We hang out at events whenever we're in the same place at the same time. He's just a good dude, good heart, good morals and values. PPI does a great job. If you have to have EFI Live, we'll get you PPI tuning. If you're going to do bigger injectors and things of that nature, you have to have EFI Live. So if you're just getting into modifying this truck, it's your dad's old truck, your grandpa's old truck that you inherited, you're 16 years old, you want to make a bunch of horsepower, we got you. But what we don't want to see you do is buy a S&B intake and a Edge Evolution tuner and a FASS and then regret it because your buddy makes 600 horsepower. So you need to think like this video should be your starting point in planning on what you want to do with your truck. If you want to make 650 horsepower, this entire list of parts changes. If you just want a fun daily driver that makes 450 horsepower and runs for 400,000 miles, that's this video. Fast fuel systems #1, S&B Cold Air Intake is #2. Intercooler pipes, like I really like upgraded intercooler pipes on all the Duramaxes. The factory intercooler pipes suck. The rubberized boots suck. They fall apart. They leak oil. They spray oil all over the engine bay. You want some good stainless or aluminum intercooler pipes with silicone boots. Silicone's the key. Silicone can take that oil that's running through the CCV, and a lot of guys are going to tell you to reroute your CCV. I don't like rerouting a CCV. It stinks. It smells like rotten eggs. A lot of the CCV reroutes we've done over the years, dating back 20 years, guys asked us to reroute the CCV and they almost always come back, well, it's dripping oil in my driveway. It stinks like rotten eggs. My wife says it makes her give it a headache, whatever. Just rerouting the CCV is not the answer. Just get good aftermarket intercooler pipes with silicone boots and the CCV is no longer an issue. It keeps your engine quieter, it looks nicer, you don't have oil dripping all over the place, you're not spraying oil all over underneath your truck. The SureFlo fuel sending unit, that kind of goes with the FASS, we talked about that. The next thing I would do after the air intake and intercooler pipes is really kind of a two-part thing. PPE, manifolds and up pipes, Duramaxes run hot, EGTs are a pain in the butt there's nothing you want to do, like there's nothing worse than getting into a good hard pull and all of a sudden your EGT alarm's going off on your Edge Evolution or your Edge Insight. If you go EFI route, we get you an Edge Insight to monitor gauges and parameters. But the last thing you want to do is listen to this stupid alarm going off and you got to let out of it and then that Dodge you were racing goes flying by you because he's not battling EGTs like you are. So we got to get the EGTs under control. Bigger, thicker core intercooler is going to help with that. PPE manifolds and up pipes are going to help with that. If you're at that point, we got to talk transmissions. So your Allison is wonderful. Somebody told you it's the best transmission ever made. They lied. It's not. About 450 horsepower. Factory torque converter's done. So if the factory torque converter's done, transmission's coming out. Why are you going to take the transmission out and put a heavy duty triple disc converter in there just to blow the transmission apart? So it's an all at once, do it all at once, budget for it. It sucks. It's a big band-aid to rip off. But you don't realize how much horsepower you're losing through the factory transmission. So like, I can't tell you how many times over the years, we do one part at a time builds all the time. People come in, they want an air intake. We do that. 3 months later, they come in, they want the upgraded intercooler pipes. We do that. 6 months later, they come back and we do a little bit bigger turbo, like a stage 1 Power Max or something like that. And it just, these builds snowball. Everything you do to your engine has a cause and effect. Sometimes good, sometimes good and bad, sometimes just bad. And inevitably what ends up happening is they nickel and dime build these trucks one part at a time, and then the transmission blows up. And then we put a built transmission in it, and they go drive it for the first time, and they're like, what did you change? Like, did you change my tuning? No, we didn't mess with your tuning. You don't need change tuning for a transmission build. And they're just blown away because their truck's making so much more power than it did before. That's because you were losing power through that transmission the entire time. You didn't know it because it still moved, but when the transmission's slipping, you're not transferring that power to the ground. So once the transmission's built, your truck's gonna feel more powerful, and that's why. You're also going to probably wanna do a set of traction bars at this point, because now that that transmission's working properly, you're planting that power at the tires, and you're gonna start dealing with axle wrap and things of that nature. So it's an LBZ, it's a great engine. Put a FASS fuel system on it. If that's the only thing that you do, great. You're gonna have a good relationship with that truck, and it's gonna give you years and years of reliable service. If you wanna go crazy after the FASS, do the air intake, intercooler pipes. You know, if you wanna do a bigger turbo, there's a lot of great companies out there making bigger turbos. I like the BD Diesel line of turbos myself. I've got a great relationship with those guys. I've been to their facility multiple times. I've done their dealer training and done the walkthrough at their manufacturing plant. Like, they're like the super nerds of the diesel industry. Like, they deep dive into data. And when you're spending money on your hard-earned money on expensive aftermarket parts, those are the kind of people you want to deal with. Fleece Performance makes an excellent turbo for your LBZ. The Fleece Cheetah turbos, I've been installing those things for years on Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. Those guys have got turbo technology down to a T. So I don't care who you want or who you like best, we can get you taken care of. There's so many people making turbos. Just do your research. If you don't like what I'm saying or you don't agree with it, shoot me a message in the comments, shoot me a message on Facebook with your concerns or what you read or what you saw on this Facebook page, and I will honestly and truthfully put that to rest so that you feel confident in where you're spending your hard-earned money. If you're going to upgrade your turbo, you're going to upgrade your fuel system. The number one complaint I get, kids will get online, they'll buy a Garrett Power Max Stage 1. It's like the cheapest thing you can put in your truck. And then they'll call up complaining that it's laggy. The Fleece Cheetah is not going to be laggy. I've dropped those in and guys are perfectly happy with them with just a mild can tune. They run great. If you go and do an aftermarket turbo and you do experience that lag and you stumble across this video, give me a shout at reviewdiesel.com. You can email me through the website. You can message me through the website on the instant messenger. I can get you into the parts that you need to make that laggy turbo work. Going backwards is never fun. Nobody wants to do that. But just a slight upgrade in like injector nozzles. Throw like a set of 80, 90 horse injector nozzles on there from the manufacturer that you like best. We can get them all. I personally like DDP. Lenny Reed's taken great care of me over the years. I've ran his injectors in my personal builds. I've sold tons of his injectors to customers. I couldn't even begin to guess at how many, but I've had great luck with them. You know, I've only ever had one injector that I had to send back, and when I told Lenny that it was bad, he walked me through a series of diagnoses that he wanted to have done. The second we determined that it was his injector, he overnighted one to me, no questions asked. I hadn't even sent the other one back yet. That's like amazing customer service. That's the kind of customer service I want you guys to experience. So I'm not saying that the parts that we're reviewing are necessarily never gonna have an issue. That's not true. If I was saying that, I'd be lying to your face. Anything mechanical or electrical has the potential to fail. I'm reviewing the companies. So if I'm gonna sell you a part and you're trusting me to get you those parts, I'm gonna deal with the people that are gonna take care of you the best and the fastest. So if we have a problem with a brand new injector, that can happen. It's the company that's gonna overnight a replacement right away versus the company that may also make a really great injector, but they want you, the customer, to send it back first, and then they're going to test it on their test bench, and they're going to determine if it was bad. That's a horrible customer experience. Why would you do that to customers? You shouldn't be punished because a manufacturer sent out a bad injector. Lenny Reed's not going to do that to you. He's going to take care of us. He's going to take care of you. That's why we review his parts so highly. He's proved it years and years now of taking care of me and my customers, and that's who I want to do business with, and that's who's going to get our reviews. So that wraps it up for the LBZ as far as like daily driver, reliable. If you want to build a hot rod, we got you. We've done tons of them, all the way up to UCC contenders and guys that are at the drag strip every single weekend. I have those customers and I've got those relationships and we've done those builds. We can get you the parts for that level of competition, but this video is for your everyday guy that's hauling hay, hauling horses, hauling a camper on the weekends. These upgrades I mentioned here are going to get you there, and we will have links to all these parts. And if you have any questions, hit us up. Facebook, Instagram, email, chat with me through the website, it's reviewdiesel.com. I'll answer it as fast as I can.